The company party had ended hours earlier, but I remembered almost nothing after the final toast. I had stayed late helping colleagues clean up, then accepted a ride from someone I barely knew. When morning sunlight touched my face, I opened my eyes in an unfamiliar bedroom and immediately panicked that morning again. The room was elegant, quiet, and enormous, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. My jacket rested neatly across a chair, and my shoes were beside the door. Before I could understand anything, the bedroom door opened. My CEO stood there holding 2 cups of coffee, smiling calmly, completely. "Good morning, honey," she said. I nearly dropped the blanket. "Honey?" I repeated, completely confused. She laughed softly and placed 1 coffee on the table. "Relax. Nothing happened. You were exhausted, and I brought you here because you weren't safe going home alone." Her explanation somehow raised more questions that morning. Her name was Victoria, the youngest CEO our company had ever appointed. She was brilliant, demanding, and famously private. At work, employees rarely saw her smile. Yet standing there in casual clothes, holding coffee for me, she looked surprisingly human. I wondered why she had personally helped me that morning. I asked what had happened after the party. Victoria explained that I had become dizzy outside the restaurant. She had noticed immediately and arranged for me to stay at her guest house. She slept in another room, she insisted, and nothing inappropriate had happened. Hearing that, my embarrassment slowly disappeared completely. Then Victoria surprised me by saying, "You don't remember what you told me last night." I frowned. She smiled and reminded me that I had spoken honestly about feeling invisible at work. I had admitted that I wanted my efforts recognized, not because of money, but because I wanted respect. That conversation embarrassed me more than waking up there. I had always considered myself professional, careful, and emotionally guarded. Apparently, exhaustion had removed those defenses. Victoria told me she remembered every word because my honesty made her reconsider how she treated people throughout the company. Her expression became unusually thoughtful. I asked whether I had said anything offensive about her. She shook her head. "Quite the opposite," she replied. "You said you admired my leadership but wished I would remember employees had lives outside the office." I laughed nervously. "I actually said that?" Victoria nodded. "Very passionately. That evening, too." We both laughed, and the awkwardness finally broke. Victoria admitted that my honesty had stayed with her all night. She realized that being CEO had made her distant without noticing it. She wanted to change that, beginning with listening more carefully. I appreciated her willingness to admit something difficult that day. Before leaving, I thanked her for helping me. Victoria offered breakfast, and I accepted. Sitting across from her at a quiet kitchen island felt strange because our professional relationship had always been formal. Now we were discussing ordinary things like favorite foods, childhood memories, and why neither of us cooked. Victoria eventually asked whether I was uncomfortable being there. I told her the truth. I was surprised, but I trusted her explanation. She nodded. "Good," she said, "because I don't want this morning to become gossip or affect your career." Her words reminded me how complicated our positions were. She offered to drive me home, but before leaving, she asked whether I would meet her for coffee outside the office sometime. I hesitated, knowing the potential complications. Victoria immediately said there was no pressure. She simply wanted to continue the conversation without the CEO and employee roles between us. I agreed, but we established clear boundaries. No secret meetings at work, no special treatment, and no decisions that could create conflicts of interest. Victoria respected that completely. Somehow, setting those boundaries made the invitation feel more genuine. Neither of us wanted power or position to influence anything personal. Over the following weeks, our coffee conversations continued. We discovered surprising similarities between us. We both loved quiet bookstores, hated crowded clubs, and believed success meant having people you trusted around you. Slowly, I stopped seeing Victoria only as my CEO. I began seeing the woman behind the title personally. She also changed at work. Meetings became more open, employees received more opportunities to speak, and Victoria started asking questions before making decisions. I never claimed credit for those changes. She didn't either. But whenever our eyes met across a conference room, we both remembered that unexpected morning privately. One afternoon, Victoria asked whether I regretted waking up in her guest house. I smiled and said I regretted the headache, not the conversation. She laughed. Then she admitted that the morning had changed something inside her. She had spent years protecting herself from vulnerability, and suddenly she wanted connection together. I told her I felt the same. But we needed patience. She agreed. Our relationship developed slowly, away from office gossip and unnecessary drama. Eventually, Victoria transferred my reporting line to another executive so there could never be questions about favoritism. That decision made me respect her even more. Months later, we attended another company event. This time, we arrived separately and behaved professionally. Afterward, Victoria found me outside beneath the city lights. She smiled and asked whether I remembered the first morning at her house. I said I remembered every confusing, embarrassing, unexpectedly wonderful moment. She laughed and said, "Good morning, honey," deliberately repeating the words that had terrified me months earlier. This time, I smiled, instead of panicking. I told her that morning had taught me something important. Unexpected moments could change your life, but only honesty could turn them into something meaningful. We walked toward the waiting cars together, neither rushing nor pretending everything was simple. Whatever came next, we knew our connection had begun with an accident, survived awkwardness, and grown through trust. The morning I woke in my CEO's house had seemed frightening at first. Somehow, it became a beginning. Sometimes the strangest mornings become the memories you keep forever. I had entered my CEO's house confused, embarrassed, and certain the situation would become a disaster. Instead, one unexpected night opened a door to trust, honesty, and a relationship neither of us had planned or expected before that party together.